Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in. The stream will start soon, and if it doesn't, I am locked in the basement of a Smoothie King. They have kept me captive for weeks, forcing me to produce content. I'm being held against my will. Please, stay on my dog.
Welcome to Smoothie King. How can I take your order?
Slightly biased, more like slightly late. Am I right, guys? Thank you. Thank you. I mean, where the fuck is this guy? Where is he?
Welcome to Smoothie King. How can I take your order?
Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in. The stream will start soon, and if it doesn't, I am locked in the basement of a Smoothie King. They have kept me captive for weeks, forcing me to produce content. I'm being held against my will. Please, stay on my dog.
Welcome to Smoothie King. How can I take your order? Hello, hello, hello. Hello. Too loud? What the fuck? Why is this so loud? So I have to say this up front. I missed you guys, but my computer shit all over itself. Hold on a second. My computer shit all over itself a couple days ago, and I had to reset my Windows. So there's still some stuff that I'm like trying to figure out what I'm missing. I had to delete everything. So there's still some stuff I have to figure out what I'm missing. So if things are weird, Bubba, 20 months, 19 months of happiness and bias, 1 month of hate. That's fair. That's fair. How's the vacation? I didn't do anything. So I really thought I needed some time off, and I did. I didn't go on Twitter. That's really what I wanted time off from. I just chilled. I played basketball, worked out, got up to platinum in Marvel's solo queuing. So, no carry job. Just solo queuing my way up. Just something to think about. What else did I do? That's really kind of it. Had a couple really nice dinners. But outside of that, I didn't really do much. And I really was like, man, I just kind of want to break from streaming. You know, it's funny because I'm not an astrology guy. With that being said, sometimes I look at the horoscopes and stuff, and I'm like, damn. It's kind of accurate. But the one for February was you will find stress and creativity. It's true, I did. So I thought I just need a little break. So the last time I did slightly early was 2 weeks ago. I can't believe it's been that long. But the last time I streamed on playback was Thursday before the All-Star break. Last Thursday. I'm not kidding you guys. I woke up on Saturday and it's like, fuck, I want to stream. I was bored the entire time. I hated it. Just going to be honest with you. I hated it. I didn't like it at all. Can I say something crazy? Seeing Shaq face to face did not seem as tall as I thought he would be. I think it's because we have like a mythical idea of what Shaq looks like in our head. So when you see him and he's not a literal giant, it's weird. It's a little strange, you know? All right. What do we start with? Bleacher Report streaks is down. Unfortunate. What's there to start with? I know it's a week late, but I want to do an All-Star game rant. I really do. I just feel like I got to get one out, you know? I mean, we're going to talk about Luka, but that's going to take so much of our time. Lil Nessa with the 1 month, your content brain, more streams incoming. Oh, yeah. I mean, we're back to slightly early. We're going to go back to Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Although, I'm not going to lie, I did like streaming every day. There was something to that I enjoyed. We got to 100,000 views. 100,000 views on our video. Beautiful. Thank you, guys. Yeah, you guys saw. Not monetized. I do this shit for the love of the game. There was too many clips of Luka, like NBA clips that I had in there. And I thought about removing them, but it would have fucked with it wasn't my vision. It wasn't my vision. You know. So think about that next time you call me a sellout. 100,000 view video, hour and 47 minutes. That would have been a lot of cheese. That would have been a lot of cheddar. That's exactly right. The aura would have been tainted. But appreciate that, TGK. But anyways, so I'm happy with it. I was hoping the video would get to 1 million. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. But it is what it is. 100,000 is nothing to sneeze at. I saw someone else do a Luka video post of 4 days now with 125,000 views. Yeah, I mean, look, here's the reality. I think I've already lost the algorithm game. I've been studying it for a long time. I think I already lost it. We're battling through. Might be cleared to hoop again soon. I mean, we haven't had a hoop session a long ass time. We're going to talk about Luka. I think you really found your audience with this format of video, by the way. Yeah, so that's another thing too. Is oh yeah, I got a new tattoo a couple days ago. Hurt like shit. I have a lot of tattoos. This area right here is the most painful in my opinion. Right here. It's just like so tender. I was the algorithm hates you. I do. I think if I had to theorize, and this is for any creators out there, if I just had to theorize, why do I feel like the algorithm treats me a little unfairly? And I don't want to make it seem as though, I'm not doing well. But there are times where I look around the landscape of YouTube and NBA YouTube, and I'm like, man, what the fuck is this dog shit video? And God bless you guys, but I will look at it and be like, what the fuck is this dog shit video? And again, I don't want to poo-poo any creators, but it's really shitty. It's really bad, right? If I were the editor, and I've worked as an editor before, I would straight up tell them that it's bad. But they get millions of views, right? And they're terrible. And again, I don't want to come off, I don't want to come across as being, jealous or anything like that. But they are awful. I can't tell you because I would get banned. The truth is against TOS. What is that? I had somebody comment something once and it's actually stuck in my brain for a long time. This I can't tell you why. I'm paraphrasing the comment, but it was like, can't tell you why the algorithm doesn't like you, or else my comment will get deleted. And I've been thinking about that ever since. I'm like, what does that fucking mean, dude? Like, what does that mean? It's about your physical traits you were born with? Okay, what does that mean, bro? Are you saying I'm ugly? Like, Jesus. They promote 35-year-olds. Well, good news for me is I'm not even close to that. I got snitch energy. I don't even know what that means either. Yeah, I think you can say. I got comment deleted for saying, I hope Nico slips and scrapes his knee. I just pulled the giant ass hair out of my face. Okay. You start making Lakers videos. So going back to what I was saying is now I'm in a bind because I don't know how to creatively follow up that video, really. But it's in a way kind of good because I had told you guys I'd kind of been wanting to move towards more the long form. I like those type of videos. It challenges me. I think I'm good at them. So there might, video-wise, we'll still stream on this channel all the time because I love streaming. But video-wise, you might not see another video for a while I think about my next move. Algorithm is going away from liberals. Oh, man. But good thing I'm a communist. The algorithm going towards communists. I'll grift, guys. I'll grift. Don't say hater side. You're still hot to us at 33 years old, brother. Okay, thank you. I'm not 33, though. I'm not even really close to 33. Like, in the grand scheme of things, when you really think about it, I'm actually not even that close to 33. But thank you, though, for the sentiment. All right, let's get into the All-Star game. That's what I want to start with, actually. I know it's been a week old at this point, and for a lot of people, it might be time to move on, but I want to talk about it because I thought it was the worst thing. I thought it was so bad. I thought it was horrible. Oh, and more housekeeping stuff, by the way, is something else I did over break. Again, all I thought about over break was this. Something else I did over break was, if you go look at the channel now, I unlisted about half the videos on the channel. Just thought there was a lot of slop. You can still find them on playlists, but they're just like not on the channel anymore. So let's start here. Let's start here. I don't have my, oh my God. I don't have any of this stuff set up since I reset this. Here we go. Let's start here, shall we? The All-Star game. Man, it was a disaster. Man, it was a disaster, huh? Oh, wait, did I miss stuff? Paul with the 2. Where's the Australia tattoo? Shh. Lil Nessa with the 1 month. Your content brain, more streams incoming. Oh, yeah, baby. Frederick with the 10. Great video, bro. Thank you, Frederick. B-Dot, 27 months of video is great. Happy as fuck you got 100K. Love you, B-Dot. Paul with the 2. Doncic never was a Mav. I did not say that. That's not true. I did not say that, guys. Please. Guys, please. They're not fucking around with me. You got to understand, man. They don't get some of the inside jokes when the clips start happening. Good morning. Oh, wait. Good morning, folks. It is what day is it? It's Friday, February 21st, 2025, 10:52 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're back from our little hiatus. We're back from our break. We're ready to go. We're ready to lock in. We are locked and loaded. It is time for slightly early. We got a lot to talk about. A lot has happened since our break. This will probably be a longer episode. I want to talk about the NBA All-Star Game. I know it's old. I know it's already happened. It's old news. I want to talk about it. I want to discuss it. I have my opinions on it. We're going to talk about Luka Doncic. Hasn't looked great since making his debut for the Los Angeles Lakers. We're going to talk about that. Victor Wembanyama out for the season. We're going to talk about that. That has pretty big implications. We're also just going to, I think we'll just kind of take a quick peek at the landscape of the league, and we'll try to figure out, where these teams stand as we get to like the last 25 and a half or so. Slightly, I showed your Luka video to the Daily Torador. Yo, shout out to the Daily Torador. I used to work there. Shout out to the Daily Torador, man. Memories. Martin out for the rest of the season? Wait, what? Is that a real update? That's not a real update, is it? I don't see anything. Okay. Don't scare me like that, dude. Don't scare me like that. Anyways, I wonder if the people who were at the Daily Torador still work there whenever I was there. Have you been watching any of the FIBA qualifiers matches? No, I have not. Let's start here, okay? So, the All-Star weekend, and I know I'm late, but I want to get in on this. The All-Star weekend was a catastrophe, okay? It was absolutely terrible. The dunk contest, Mac McClung had some pretty cool dunks. Stephon Castle had some pretty cool dunks. I'm personally of the belief, I think the dunk contest and really the Saturday night festivities is skews towards a younger audience. So I try to look at it through that lens. With that being said, I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm not going to spend too much time on the dunk contest. I don't know if there's fixing it. Like, I don't know if there's a fix for the dunk contest. Sure, having the stars playing there would make it a little bit more entertaining. Yeah, of course. Like, John Morant's dunking tonight. Oh, shit. Like, maybe you tune in, right? But the reality is those guys, and Anthony Edwards even talked about this, he's not like a fancy dunker. He's a powerful dunker. There's a difference. There's like Russell Westbrook, for example, powerful dunker. He's not doing like crazy windmills and 360 no-scope dunks. Like, there's kind of levels on that front. And because of that, I don't really care too much about the dunk contest. I don't really know if there's fixing it. I will say, and Kevin O'Connor got some shit for this, but he's 100% right. I mean, just having NBA players that people know is pretty important. Like, I get it. Everyone who's in here knows who's in the dunk contest. Everyone knows who Stephon Castle is. Everyone knows who Andre Jackson is. There actually might be some of you in here who don't know who Andre Jackson is. But everyone knows who Andre Jackson is. Everyone knows who Matas Bazulis is. Like, we all know who those players are. Look, the reality is the casual fan does not. I mean, the casual fan probably knew zero people. Mac McClung was probably the most popular player in the dunk contest. He's not even in the NBA. Like, he's in the G League, right? So I do think that kind of impacts how people view the dunk contest, because it's like, if I'm kind of a very casual NBA fan, and this is around the time that I'm trying to lock into the NBA, I look at the dunk contest, I see Stephon Castle. Maybe I know him. Big college player, top 5 draft pick. Matas Bazulis, okay. Top 10 pick. Andre Jackson Jr., Mac McClung. Like, I'm not tuning in for that shit if I'm just being real, right? 3-point contest, I never cared about. Skills challenge, hilarious that Wemby and Chris Paul got disqualified. But with that being said, man, the Saturday night festivities or whatever, I don't know if there's a fix for me that would make me care about it that much more. Let's talk about the game itself. How can we fix the All-Star game? First and foremost, the NBA has to answer one singular question. That is this actually salvageable? Do we think we can fix this? Like, before we implement any huge changes, like any real fundamental changes that will add added importance and significance to this game, do we think people will actually care? Like, do we think the players will care? Because if we're going to make a big change, like something that's been suggested, home court advantage, if we're going to do something like that, we have to make sure that there's buy-in from the players, because that's going to be really shitty if we make a big change like that and it's a fucking dunk contest track meet, for 46 minutes. That's the number one question they got to answer is, do we think this can be fixed? My first thing I would do if I was the commissioner, I would move it. I would move it to the weekend before the NFL Super Bowl. So I'd move it back a couple of weeks. It's more in the middle of the season. It's kind of weird to come out the All-Star break and there's 25 games left. Like, you've already played 60 games. Is that not a little? That's always been a little strange to me. But I move it back in front of the Super Bowl, the week before the Super Bowl. Now, you might be wondering, well, dude, the NFL Pro Bowl is on there. Who gives a shit? Sorry. Who gives a shit? The NFL Pro Bowl. What do they have their dodgeball event? Do they even play football anymore in the Pro Bowl? Dude, the NFL dodgeball event's on that day. Who fucking cares? NBA, it's time to grow up a little bit. Grow a set. Lock in. Stop embarrassing yourself like this. Okay? Flag celebrity football. Yeah, dude, they got the flag celebrity game. Who fucking cares? All right? Move it in front of the Super Bowl. And what I would do is I would have the break be a little bit longer. I'd have it be about 12 days, up to 2 weeks. I'd do whatever you have to do. Start the season a week earlier to account for it, whatever you need to do. The longer break will help out players and teams, right? Nobody wants to see all these injuries, man. A longer break in the middle of the season will be helpful. And two, it actually gives the All-Stars a break. I mean, I was listening to the old man in the three. Cam Johnson was talking about how if you're at the game, if you're at the festivities, you don't get a break. Like, it's not like you're kind of resting and then you play the game and then you get some rest. Like, you're doing shit constantly, right? So I would, the week before the Super Bowl, you have your last games before the All-Star break on that Thursday night, whatever. Boom, you do your All-Star festivities Saturday. You still do the dunk contest, still do all of that shit. All-Star game on Sunday, I'll talk about ways you could fix that. And then I think I would take an entire week off, right? So you have the Sunday before the Super Bowl is the All-Star game. You take that entire week off. The Super Bowl happens that Sunday. Boom. Monday, Tuesday after the Super Bowl, you're back. You keep the trade deadline that Thursday before the Super Bowl. So the trade deadline happens in the middle of the break. I like that because teams aren't having to rest guys because they might be getting traded. Guys aren't getting traded right after games. It's like kind of this awkward thing. Coaches have talked about it, right? Steve Kerr's talked about how awkward it is. So you eliminate that process. And on top of that, we've seen over the past couple of years, the trade deadline's been moved to that Thursday before the Super Bowl. And it's kind of been this thing that people have worried about where it's like, oh man, trade deadline before the Super Bowl. But the trade deadline has dominated a lot of the conversation, even in the lead up to the Super Bowl, because people really like NBA trades, right? So you have the trade deadline in the middle of this break. And that way, whenever the Super Bowl's over, that's when the Super Bowl ending is almost like opening night part 2 for the NBA, because you get a bunch of people who are now have this hole in their sports life that they need to fill. A lot of people, and don't underestimate the amount of people in the United States of America who are like, I'll focus on basketball once the football season's over, right? So boom, All-Star game, trade deadline, you're generating buzz. Oh shit, Luka got traded, this guy got traded. Oh my God, what the fuck happened? Boom, Super Bowl ends. All right, we're back. Games are on TNT, games are on ESPN. We're locking back in. We get to see all these guys make their debuts for new teams. It's fun and it's exciting. So that's what I would do first and foremost. I would move it, and I'd make the break longer so guys could get healthier, so the players participating in the game itself actually get some time to rest. Now let's talk about the game itself. That was the worst one I've ever seen. I mean, that was so bad. And what's sad about it is it wasn't even the game, really. I thought the format was kind of good. Like, the format had some real potential, I thought. The players, I thought, tried decently. Like, you're never going to get a full buy-in level, especially now with the All-Star game. But, I thought that there was some interesting moments and stuff like that. I thought it was fun seeing, like, Wemby get really frustrated when the defense didn't try. Like, I like that. But my God, the presentation was so embarrassing. So embarrassing. Adam Silver, if for some reason you're listening to this, please, you got to step in, man. The MLB is revoking ESPN's rights to show their games because they said, and I quote, ESPN doesn't talk enough about baseball, so we're ripping it away from them. It's time to grow a fucking set, man. That was pathetic. So, yeah, it's just a big promotion event now. It's just nothing but advertisements and Kia. I don't know about you guys. I went straight to the Kia dealership that Monday morning. Way too many ads. Look, we don't need to stop the game. There's already so many stoppages. You've got, 4 different games? You can easily just plan a little ceremony in between one of the games. We don't need to stop one of the games to do a TNT segment. No, nobody wants that. Seriously, nobody wants that. The players didn't want it. The viewers didn't want it. What were they appealing to there? And it really doesn't make sense because inside the NBA is still a thing. They're going to still be a thing. Okay. The Kevin Hart decision was shocking. I mean, what were they thinking there? This is the big problem, and one of the big problems I've had with the NBA is it's unlike any other sport. The way that they just let their broadcasting partners, the way that they let the people talking about their games, the analysts, the commentators, whatever, just openly shit all over the sport. It's the most bizarre thing. It's we already know. If you follow the league, you already know the All-Star game has been a hot topic of conversation for quite some time. Look, I don't need to tune in. And the All-Star game is basically just like a 3 or 4 hour long podcast for these guys to shit all over the league and talk about how terrible it is, how terrible the All-Star game is. Kevin Hart's just shitting on every single player. His mic is going through the stadium so the players hear it. It doesn't make any sense in the world. The NFL would never do it, ever. The All-Star game was terrible. That was the worst one I've ever seen. It was the second least viewed one ever. It ain't working. And I'm going to tell you right now, okay? Beyond the product being terrible, because it is on the All-Star game, Silver, you got to put your fucking foot down here, man. Like, are you aware of this from a business side? People that are tied to your game constantly shitting on it is not good for business, man. It isn't good for business. Your product's too good right now. And people are being gaslit into thinking that it's horrible. It's so bad. And that's what's sad. That's what's sad, Braden, is the product on the court, like game-wise, really wasn't terrible. But the players tried pretty hard, all things considered. Like, I didn't think it was that bad. But the presentation was so terrible. Now, this format, there's some problems. I thought the idea of the Rising Stars was good. I supported it. I liked it because I thought those guys will try really hard. And if you've played sports at any level, if you play basketball at any level, if you play basketball, pick up basketball. You know, all it takes is 2-3 guys to really try their ass off, and everyone's trying their ass off. Like, that's really all it takes. So I like that idea that these young guys will get a chance and it'll just up the intensity. I really didn't think about the fact that who was the trio? It was Şengün, Cade. I don't remember the other guy. Got like a combined 30 seconds of playtime or some crazy shit like that. That's where this format kind of runs into a problem. And that's where it's like, wait, I just got to see. It's my first time. Like, Şengün's been my guy. He made the All-Star game. I'm so happy. How did Zach Edey play more? What the fuck? How does that make sense? Zach Edey got to play more at the All-Star game than. How does that make sense? So the format needs to be reworked, definitely. My solution and what I would really consider doing now, and I can't believe it because I thought this was so dumb. And whenever I first heard it, it's been brought up before, but Bill Simmons brought it up a week or two ago, and I thought it was so stupid when I heard it a week ago. But I've thought about it more and more, and now I do think there could be some juice. Is the All-Star game decides home court advantage in the NBA Finals. Baseball tried this. And look, this is where this is hard to talk about the All-Star game because the All-Star game it really is for a younger audience, right? USA International, I like the idea of quite a bit. The only problem is, how do you determine who's an All-Star? And then inevitably, the international, like top 5, 6, 7 guys will be stacked, right? But you're going to get to a problem where if you're going to have like a 12, 13-man roster, there's going to be some guys at the bottom of it where it's like, that guy was an All-Star? Really? So let me explain. I thought home court advantage was a terrible idea, but the more I've thought about it, I do think people would play hard. I think you would solve that issue immediately. People would care. And Bill Simmons talked about how it can only be the top 5 seeds. I don't even think that would have to be the case. I think everyone there would buy in. Again, all it takes is a few guys to really, really lock in, And you don't want to be that guy. Like, you really don't want to be that guy. Right? I think you would get a good amount of buy-in. Another thing, too, when you think about home court advantage in the finals, Game 7 at home. We haven't had a Game 7 since 2016, and the road team won that. When was the last Game 7 before that? 2008? Celtics Lakers? Road team won that. I'm not sure how much, like, this is kind of this open secret right now. I'm not sure how much home court advantage really matters. Oh, yeah, 2013. That's right. I'm not sure how much home court advantage really matters all that much. The home court thing would also solve the problem of one team having home court in the finals because their conference was shit and they had an inflated record. Yeah, that's true. So that's where I'm at, Jake. I have such great memories of the All-Star game, baseball All-Star game growing up. Now, I don't know. This is where it's difficult talking about this kind of stuff. I don't know how much of that is, the game was really fun and it had these stakes and it felt like a really big moment in the season. How much of it is that versus how much of it was, I was a teenager, I was a kid, I played baseball. Baseball is my favorite sport growing up. And it's just like this nostalgia thing for me. So I look back on it really fondly. That's where it's very difficult talking about these things because realistically, how long has the All-Star game been shitty? It's been a long time. It's been a long, long time. But baseball, I remember this though, how cool it was from a fan's perspective. I remember early, mid-2000s, Rangers were shit. They were terrible, right? They weren't good. They weren't really a playoff team ever. But man, it was cool as a fan seeing my guys make the All-Star game, a very big moment. It was cool to see my guys go up there in the biggest at-bats of their careers, all things considered, and have big moments like on a huge national stage in a game that meant a lot. Michael Young. I remember, what year was it? 2006. All-Star game in Detroit, I believe. Oh, Pittsburgh. Michael Young, 2006. Rangers were terrible. Hit a go-ahead triple in the 9th inning. Played for the Rangers. And it was like this, oh my fucking God. Like, oh, that was such a cool moment for me. Such a cool moment for me to see Michael Young do that on my team. No, I was not a teenager in 2006. I was not a teenager in 2006. Not even close. Michael Young did that, and it was for a fan of a team that wasn't very good. So cool to see my player do that. And Hank Blaylock, what year is it? He hit a home run in an All-Star game. 2003. Hank Blaylock, huh? How about 2003 blast from the fucking past? All-Star game MVP, Michael Young. That shit meant something to me. You got to understand. That shit meant something to me. Hank Blaylock, 2003, pinch hit home run off Eric Gagne. Put the American League up. It was so sick. So sick. 2003, I'm like 7 years old. My team stinks. But I got to see Hank Blaylock go up there with his Ranger jersey on, hit a bomb. It was cool. And I think that there would be something there for fans. At the end of the day, this is a fan thing. The whole league is an entertainment industry. Let's never forget that part of it. And the All-Star game is really a celebration of the game, and it's for the fans. So if you add some stakes to it, I mean, imagine being a Pistons fan. The Pistons are good this year, but let's be honest. Like, if you're playing for home court advantage in the finals, the Pistons aren't making the finals, right? Still having a great season. But imagine you get, like, Kate Cunningham gets to go out there, and if a game has that much stakes, probably he's not going to play too many minutes as opposed to some of the more, solidified guys. But Kate Cunningham goes out there, and he gets 8 points in 2 minutes in the third quarter to keep the East in it. And you're like, oh my God, like you're a Pistons fan, and it's just this insane moment. That's what I started thinking. I was like, there's some juice to that. Like, if you added some real stakes to this game and people bought in, it would be a lot of fun to watch your guy go out there and make big plays with like real stakes. And what should be the best, most the the most entertaining, glorified pickup game that there is. The last good All-Star moment was U.S. versus World, Luka versus Trey. I mean, the first or second year they did the Elam ending? I mean, that was great. I don't know. You really got to consider it. You can't not do the All-Star game. Like, they're not going to get rid of the All-Star game. Not only is there, they get good ratings even when the ratings are down. They get good ratings on this. But also, don't sleep on the fact that you go to the city where the All-Star game is at, and it's a full week-long fucking thing. Like, they wouldn't cancel it for that as well. We need beef, hence why soft judges are jokes. I get the Saturday night festivities. I don't know. I don't know how you fix that. I really don't know if there is a great fix, to be honest with you. I think the dunk contest, realistically, what haven't we seen at this point? Three-point contest, never really been my thing. Whatever. It's entertaining, but that would be that. I think that there's some juice there. I think that there's some to the game actually having real stakes. And look, you really don't want to be that guy where it's like, hey, the West blew an 8-point lead because this player was fucking around the entire time on the court. And I want to say, too, it's not a great look that LeBron is this, like, whatever about the All-Star game. I don't think it's a good look for the most popular player in your league to have that approach and then also pull out of it last second. Not good. It's just not. It's not good. It's not a good look. 24-player 1v1 tournament. Eight most senior All-Stars get by. Every All-Star gets an opportunity to play for their fans. I know there are guys who have said they'll do a one-on-one tournament. I can't imagine that there would be a lot of buy-in from players to do a one-on-one tournament. LeBron not playing and then playing a back-to-back is crazy. Yeah. You think the 1v1 would be 3 dribble unlimited? Definitely not unlimited. It'd probably be like a time limit if I had to guess. 3 dribble, I don't think for a viewing audience would be as appealing. So that's why I do think that there is something to having the game mean a little bit more. And it be home court advantage, and it be you just can't do this shit again. And if you want to keep the same format, I think there's something to it. Maybe you add more all-star spots so you don't have to put a Rising Stars team in there. Very intrigued by the idea. How would you feel about the added injury risk if guys are playing for real in the All-Star game while the chances aren't too high? I'd be sick as hell if Kai got hurt. Yeah, but that's just the risk you take all the time. We got to remember, too, these guys scrimmage. These guys play pickup runs like all the time. That's something we don't see. These guys are playing high. These guys are playing competitive basketball all the time. I don't know. They got to answer a couple questions. Do they think this can be fixed? And do they even care enough to fix it, really? That's what you got to ask yourself. The expectation is just like practice level effort. Yeah, I mean, it's just not fun. And this was so bad. I mean, Mr. Beast pops up. It's like, what the fuck am I watching? Honest to God. That's the type of stuff that it happens, and then you remember, okay, this is for children. We have to remember that. This is ultimately, at the end of the day, for kids, by and large. That doesn't mean I like it. I'm telling you, Luka isn't going to be comfortable in LA until LeBron leaves. All right, let's get into that. So a couple of things I want to start here with. Here's the thing. I'm like done crying about the trade and the trade in and of itself. But the reality is the Luka trade is the biggest story of the NBA of like the last decade. The biggest story this season. It's going to continue to be the biggest story this season. So we are going to talk about it, obviously. Mavs fan. Of course, I have a vested interest in what happens here. But I'm done like crying over the details of the trade. I've been very fucking annoyed the last week. Anytime my friends would send me something, it's like, oh, a new low for the front office. I'm like, oh my God, what did they say now? and I'd open it. And we're at the point now where there's just articles every day. These news places are just regurgitating the same fucking quotes we've heard for 3 weeks. And then they're getting posted as if they're new quotes when they're the quotes we've heard a couple weeks ago. So I will say that, yes, the front office has said some absolutely stupid ass shit. Not defending them there. But I am saying, because I don't know if there's been any new information really over the last week or two. I don't think there's been any real new information. What's your sign? I'm a Cancer. So let's talk about this really quickly. There was a thing going around. And I want to say one thing. Process this however you want to process it. The trade. Right? Process it however you want to process it. I will say this. Just giving advice. We're about 3 weeks. It's been 3 weeks, right? To the day. Since the trade has happened. A little under 3 weeks. Since the trade has happened. If you're still very upset about it, if you're still to the point where everyone you're following on Twitter, every time you see something that pisses you off, I would say maybe take a step back. Just giving some advice. Like if I had a friend, and I do have some friends who I've given the same exact advice to, who get very upset, very worked up about this every day. It's something that they're pissed off about. I would say, maybe take a step back. Maybe unfollow some guys. Maybe, mute some guys. Maybe delete Twitter for a bit. Maybe just take a step back. Like if it's messing you up that badly, it's not good for your mental well-being, right? No, it still hurts. Don't get me wrong. But I'm saying if it's to the point where you're just like constantly finding yourself crashing out, maybe it's time to just, we'll be live on Playback tonight. So like this right here. The Mavs Magic thing. People are freaking out about this. This is at the practice facility, I believe. What's wrong with, why are we getting mad about this? They traded the guy. They traded the guy. This is the practice facility. They're going to take all of his shit out of the stuff. I mean, that's really not that surprising. I'll just start there. Yeah, this is in the facility. It would be one thing if this was just a random thing at a restaurant and the Mavs people swooped in black SUVs and took all the Luka shit out. All right, that would be crazy, right? That would be crazy. But this is at the facility. It's weird. It would be weird to have all the Luka stuff still in it. Obviously, it stings and it feels bad, but let's just call it what it is. They're not going to have this stuff at the facility. Okay. So Luka has played 3 games as a member of the Los Angeles Lakers. They edited him out of the hype video they just posted, which I think is whack too. Why would that be whack? Why would he still be in the hype video? Seriously. Look, the trade was terrible. Everything that's come out afterward is horrible. Maxey and Josh are still in there. Wait, what hype? Okay, wait. What hype video? I don't even know what hype video you're talking about. Oh, the whole lot of shooters on deck. That's Dallas. That one? I guess it's a little strange that Maxey and Josh Gray are still there. But I'm guessing Luka was very prominent in it. I remember using a different version of. Yeah, that's crazy. They're still using that song. It's crazy. They're still using that song. All right, let's talk about Luka on the basketball court. So it's been 3 games as a member of the Lakers. He hasn't scored over 20 in any of them. And look, I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off, come right out and say this. I've been saying this for a while now. He looks terrible. He looks terrible physically. He looks hurt. I've watched every single game of his career. I know Luka Doncic. This has been a problem now for can somebody please tell me when did Luka start bleeding from the knee. It's about a calendar year ago. He has not looked anywhere near the same since. And it was in the playoffs last year. It was at the tail end of the season last year. It was in the summer when he played for Slovenia. It was when he came back. The only time I was like, all right, Luka might be better from a physical standpoint was when he came back from that wrist sprain. Had about 10 games before he got hurt on Christmas Day. No, it was happening before the playoffs because it was a concern before then. I don't remember the exact time, but he made a layup in that game a couple nights ago against Charlotte. And they pan to him. And he's wincing and he's limping up the court. I'm like, what looked like a pretty regular play. And look, we know Luka boo-boos are a thing. We know that. But he just does not look healthy at all. The way that he's moving. He's 25 years old, man. He looks like LeBron's. You can't compare any athlete to LeBron. LeBron's 40 years old, and it looks like they're swapped age-wise. Like, if you told me LeBron was 25 and Luka was 40, I'd believe you. No, I don't know how much of it is his weight or conditioning. I'm saying he does not look healthy. His legs do not look healthy. He's not moving well. It looks like he's still in pain. I don't know. Like, the thing about Luka, and if I were in Luka's camp, I would tell him this. The thing about Luka, his shorts are very baggy, and he wears a baggy jersey. Like, as a guy, I've lost some weight. I've lost some weight. You know, I used to be overweight. You put baggy stuff on, it's not flattering. I would tell him, maybe we go like a short, a little bit tighter short. Tighter jersey, maybe. Because I do think, that's like the Goran Dragic thing. Remember that? When all the pictures were going around about Luka at the Goran Dragic event. And I defended him, and I was like, look, he's wearing like a 5X fucking jersey. He's wearing a 5X jersey. AD looks good in a Mavs jersey. Well, I mean, we've only seen it once, so not a lot to go off there. So in terms of just the on-court fit, yeah, it's going to be a little bit weird. Guys, no team has, this always gets brought up and talked about. No team has ever made a ginormous trade similar to this. I mean, we've never seen a trade like the Luka trade. But very rarely, if ever, do teams make ginormous moves like that where they are fundamentally changing their team at the trade deadline. It usually takes a long time. It's like really weird and awkward. These players have to acclimate to a completely new environment in the middle of a season. And you really have to you look at it from the Lakers' perspective, you look at it from the Mavs' perspective, they're fundamentally changing everything about the way they play the game, right? Like, they're completely and totally changing how they approach games. First time two All-NBA players traded for each other midseason, yeah. And honestly, I would say it's probably an easier transition for the Mavs, just because their new identity is going to be, hey, we're going to play a lot of defense, going to play inside out. Like, that's easier to sort of change midseason than, hey, we're bringing in like a new offensive engine who, like, the ball needs to be in his hands quite a bit, and he's just going to make things happen. Like, you got to learn, like Dodo knows, but you got to learn how to play off of him. Like, okay, when Luka's driving here, he's looking to kick out here. I need to be here, ready to shoot the ball. Like, that takes time. That's going to take a lot of time. That's going to take time. We saw it with Kyrie. You saw it with KD when he got traded to the Suns. That took time. Granted, he got hurt immediately. KD did. So it's going to take some time. And yes, it's playing next to LeBron, where LeBron needs the ball in his hands as well. Reeves needs the ball in his hands. And I'll say this, watching the Hornets game, that was embarrassing, that loss was. But when those three are on the court together and then they put Dodo or another shooter on the floor is very spaced. There's a lot of room to operate. There was a lot of room for like LeBron and Jackson Hayes, empty side pick and rolls. I mean, that you get LeBron in that situation, it feels like you're going to get a bucket every time, whether that's him or a lob to a big. Luka had a lot of space to operate on some of his, high screens. Just wasn't hitting shots. Threes looked really flat to me. Really flat. And we talked about this in the playoffs last year. When Luka wasn't hitting threes and making shots, it was because his foot. His leg. He was injured. I do think that I've seen a lot of people say that Reeves can't start. I think it's fine. I think those three can absolutely play on the court together. It's just going to take some time to mesh. Defensively, you're going to have concerns there. And we saw at the end of the game, look, call a spade a spade. Luka was getting torched defensively at the end of that game. Had 5 fouls. He doesn't look healthy. He wasn't moving well. I mean, that LaMelo move was nasty on him. Everyone was sharing that and shitting on him. I mean, that was a nasty-ass move. I think that would get a lot of people. Vanderbilt got cooked by LaMelo later in the game. But you saw how much stress was placed on the Lakers defensively because the Hornets were making a point to relentlessly hunt Luka late in the game. That's going to happen. That happened here, especially when you have 5 fouls. Yeah, 5 fouls, they're going to target him. But we've seen teams target Luka. I mean, it just makes sense. He's had the ball in his hands all game. Like, he's going to be tired. You target him. And I don't know if the Lakers have the defensive personnel right now to, like, really make up for that. But we'll see. That's part of the process. I mean, they got good defenders. I think they'll make it work. I just don't know. I don't look at this Lakers team as, like, a serious contender this year. I just don't. It's not injuries. He's out of shape and rusty. Just look at him. Dude, I think he's injured. I do. I think his leg is still bothering him. It's crazy. Like, you just look at some of the clips of him in his 73-point game. We haven't seen. Like, look, here's the reality. We haven't seen this Luka since then. Like, he had some great playoff moments, but the way that he moved in this game, the way that he moved early in the season, we just have not seen him look like that since he got that knee injury, whenever he got it last season. Like, am I wrong? Just the way that he's moving? December, January 2024, Luka was insane. He just moved so fluid. You don't see him attack much anymore. This was a problem. Go back and watch. I did a video early in the season, 10 games in. Remember? I watched every single Luka offensive possession, and I was like, yeah, Luka's just settling for jumpers now. He's not attacking as much. Not wrong. He honestly looks slower every year. You can tell how long ago a highlight is, but how quick, slow he looks. I think a lot of that, though, yeah, obviously Luka in the bubble was like, he looked fantastic. He looked quick. Last year was the best he's ever been. Like, he wasn't as quick as he was in the bubble, but he was the best he's ever been as a player last year. And I think a lot of that has to do with he like mastered the pace. He was still able to get to his spots. He didn't have like some of like the athletic like dunk plays every now and then. We're like, whoa, like, yo, Luka's a sneaky athlete. But he was just methodical, strong as fuck. Still got to his spots. It was like a perfect balance, I thought, last year. And I mean, even in the playoffs, like, he didn't shoot well in the playoffs. He still made it happen. Playing like he's been hurt even coming into the season this year. Well, yeah, he was. He came into the season hurt. He had the calf problem. mean, I don't know how you can watch really him at all this season, especially the last few games of the late. And he just came back from missing damn near 2 months. So I feel like it's not really fair to him.
Atlanta within 4. Luka. Oh, keep that in mind. The way he started this one. Again. Oh, look at this. He faked
I mean, I feel like you just don't see him move like that anymore. Connor, 14 months. I trust he'll get back to peak Luka in time. Yeah. I mean, he'll be fine. He's not taking his recovery serious. Luka has played year-round with Real and Slovenia, then Mavs and Slovenia since he was 17 years old. You can't do that as a teenager, not as a mid-20-year-old. Who are you telling, bro? Who are you telling? I've been fighting that battle forever. The your turn, my turn he's doing with LeBron reminds me so much of when Kyrie first arrived. Yeah. And they'll make it work, man. They'll make it work. LeBron and Luka are two of the smartest players we've seen. Like, they're going to make it happen. To be frank, I wouldn't be surprised if he's also not mentally 100%. Yeah, I think that's part of the problem, too. He doesn't look happy at all. I do feel really sad for him. He looks, I mean, I'm trying to imagine that. Imagine you're Luka Doncic. Your whole fucking life. How long have we been saying he'll be fine? Yeah, I mean, it is a concern. And I feel comfortable saying this now. This isn't like a switch up or anything. I have been saying this. Concerned about Luka's lower body. Concerned about the injuries piling up. Concerned about how it feels like when was the last time we've seen Luka not dealing with something? I had been saying that. But yeah, imagine you're Luka Doncic. Your whole career, you're a teenager and you're a professional in the second best league in the world. And not only that, you're winning the MVP in the second best league in the world. Your small country wins Eurobasket when you're 17 years old. Like, your whole life, you've been the shit. Then you get drafted immediately. The keys to a city were handed to you. An entire franchise was handed to you. You have a all-time great legend, NBA player, Dirk Nowitzki. Last year, this retirement tour, he takes you under his wing. Like, you're like, nobody can tell you shit. And rightfully so. And then fast forward 7 years, you've been an All-NBA player, 5 of your first 6 seasons, first-team All-NBA player. And then your team trades you and then shits on you on the way out. I mean, you've never experienced anything like that. You've never experienced anything like that. After making the finals. See the clip from First Things First talking about how sad he is? It made perfect sense. Yeah, he hasn't. I was thinking whenever I was watching that Hornets game, I was wondering, I was like, man, if Luka hits like a big shot, if Luka hits like a 3 to put him up or a game winner or something like that, could that just be like okay, we're here, we've settled in. That was a big shot. The crowd's going crazy. You watch that game and you could hear it in the crowd. Every Luka missed 3 is like oh, what the fuck's going on? You know, like you could hear that murmuring in the crowd. A little uncomfortable. Possibility Luka does not re-sign with the Lakers. I think it's decent. It's definitely possible. Definitely possible. You think Luka will need surgery? I don't really know. I don't know what his injury is. Is it just like this lingering calf problem? So he hasn't scored 25 or more points in a game since December 23rd. Now, granted, got hurt halfway through the he hasn't scored 20 points since then. Got hurt halfway through the Minnesota game. He was going to score. He was playing well in that game. He was going to score. Probably 30 or so in that game. 14 points his debut, 5 of 14 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3. 16 points in his second game, 6 of 13 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3. 14 points in that loss against the Hornets, 5 of 18 from the field, 1 of 9 from deep. 6 turnovers in his last game, 5 in that loss to the Jazz. He had, and now to be fair, he did have like, how many turnovers did he have in the first 3 or so minutes of the game? 5? He still does things where you're like, okay, Luka's going to be fucking good. If there was a serious problem with his lower body, we would have heard something about it by now. I mean, we did hear something about it. He got traded. Like, I think that's hearing about it. If Luka's in tip-top 100% shape, he's not getting traded. Yeah, he was on a minute restriction the first couple of games. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I really have never done the Weight Watcher thing, and I will continue to not do it because it doesn't feel fair for me, to be honest with you. But with that being said, yeah, of course. Like, it's weird because all of the frustrations the front office said about Luka were the same things that I've said in the past and a lot of people have said in the past. And it's just like, well, we didn't want to trade him, though. Are you sure about that? They were planning to trade him before last year's playoffs. We hadn't seen, as I was saying, we haven't seen Luka like really healthy, and it feels like a calendar year. I'm really interested. I would love to know when Luka first started bleeding. Is that something that I can maybe Google? When did Luka's knees first start bleeding? Because it was kind of a concern towards the end of the regular season last year. I remember that. And in the playoffs, it was really bad. It was like immediately against the Clippers. It was like, oh, Luka's hurt. Was it the Rockets overtime game? It was visible during an April 8th regular season game between Mavericks and Houston Rockets. I don't think that was the first time, though, either. It was like in March. I'm told the injections in his knee is due to arthritis in the knee. Yeah, we had a doctor on the stream once, and he was basically saying they're just steroid shots. Like the bleeding is because they just from the needles, basically. Dallas was finally perfectly tweaked to match how Luka plays. Now Luka has to have everything rebuilt around him. Going to take a few years before LA can build a contender around him. Yeah, I mean, I don't think this LA team is serious, really, it's, as far as contending goes. What's funny, though, is the Mark Williams trade. I absolutely think that they failed Mark Williams because an agent told him, hey, we'll go to LA in the summer. Like, absolutely, that happened. Yeah, for sure. Miles Turner, maybe. Hate to be that guy, but Bam.
What do you think about?
I'm trying to find out when the fuck did the knee injury happen. You see, his people said there's no reason Mark Williams should have failed this physical. Yeah, but his people are going to say that, though, because if they come out like, yeah, actually, the doctor said he's got a pretty fucked up back on like a bad hip, then teams are going to see that and say, oh, okay. I don't want his ass. Was it against Sacramento? Are we sure? I want to see, because I want to figure out when do we feel confident it started. And God, look how fucking good he was last year, dude. Unbelievable. Look at this stretch right here. Jesus. How did he not win MVP? Unreal. Robbery of a decade. So you think it was one of these Sacramento games? Why is the thing not popping up where it tells me what he was shooting? Shot really well to end the season. What did he shoot in the playoffs from 3? %. Damn robbery. Oh, yeah. He had that Achilles problem. That's right. He was hurt going into that game. But that was a separate injury. That was a completely different injury. It was a Westbrook tackle in game 1. I do think that was that in game 1? That was game 3, yeah. Yeah, 33 game 1, 32 game 2. And then what? It was just downhill from there? And then this year, he got up to 35% for the Mavs. Did not start well, but started to get hot. But if you just trace it back to the playoffs, like this has kind of been a prolonged stretch here of like around 32% from 3 for Luka on 10 attempts. December 25th, 24 against Wolves. He had his calf injury. He had to sit out the rest of the game. I know. I was there. It's like looking at an ex's old social media pictures after the breakup. Yeah, it is. When Luka came back from the wrist sprain, he was starting to get back in his bag a little bit. What were these 2 missed games for? 41%. It was his health. I guess they probably said enough is enough after 3 months of recovery, and he still came back not even close to ready. Wrist sprain. He didn't have a wrist sprain. He was just fat. Did he not have a wrist sprain? He had his wrist taped. Oh, man. Man. I hope he gets healthy. I hope. I don't know if it's going to be. And he's going to have some big games. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, he's going to pop off for 40 inevitably. I mean, Luka's such a great and talented scorer that you remember this game against the Suns. Like, I didn't even think Luka looked good in this game, and he dropped 40 and 10. Like, I didn't even think he looked that great in this game. He's waiting for the Mavs to drop 50. I mean, unless he gets some steroid injections between now and Tuesday, I don't know. He's gonna go hard against the Mavs, though. That much is certain. If he doesn't take this summer off, I worry it won't happen. Isn't there a tournament this summer? Am I tripping, or did Luka look good for a stretch after his wrist injury? Yeah, he did. He did. But that was the. I mean, remember we had this whole thing about this stretch. I was like, what's wrong with, like, what happened? What's going on with Luka? And beyond like missing shots, which is what it was by and large. Beyond that, a lot of it was also feels like he's settling a lot. Feels like he's just taking a lot of tough jumpers and not like really getting downhill. That's been my main concern. Like, fuck the shooting splits. Do I want over half of Luka's shots to be threes? I mean, not really. Not really. Luka's at his best when he's getting downhill, finishing at the rim, putting pressure on defenses. Oldest tweet I can find is April 29th. Someone talking about his bleeding knees. The game versus the Warriors is set the 3-point record. Yeah, that was sick. I just worry. I'm worried about him mentally for sure. And I think he'll get over that in time. I worry about him physically. I do, man. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry. If you've watched the last 3 Luka games and think he looks anywhere near healthy, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're coping. Yeah, I did. I wanted him traded. If he never gets healthy, he will never get to the basket a lot, and we all know he's not a shooter, so that's bad. I mean, he's a good shooter, but I think last year was a great shooting season for Luka, and it wouldn't be that surprising if that was like his best 3-point shooting season, which there's nothing wrong with. One of my big concerns is, when does it get really uncomfortable? I've already kind of started to see it. I did find it funny. I remember there was Luka fans who would always come in here and be like, no other fan base would treat their superstar like this. And I was like, really? Do you remember that shit? No other fan base would treat their superstar this way. I'm like, seriously? You really fucking think that? Luka's confidence isn't there. Luka ain't never had games this bad, this often in a row. Yeah. It's going to take time. Like, I tweeted that out. It's going to take time. It took Wade and LeBron time. Sarah with the $4.99. I think mental and physical struggles go hard and go hand in hand with him. Physical pain frustrates him. It becomes a cycle. I hope he gets holistic care. That's a really good point, actually. You felt that at times in the playoffs last year where you could just sense that Luka was frustrated by the fact he wasn't 100%. It's not a fit problem, though. It's a health issue. That's kind of where I'm at, honestly. Like, I think they go hand in hand. I don't think he's fit and in shape because I think he's hurt. Like, I think he's legit injured. I think you're underestimating how much this trade affected his mental health. No, I get it. I do get it. Why would LA play him if he's still hurt, though, especially after seeing AD go down? I mean, it could be one of those things where it's like, hey, the calf injury, like, we don't think you're at risk, really, of re-injuring your calf, but he just might not be at 100%. If that makes sense. Yes, I am still a Mavs fan. Domantas Sabonis the biggest loser in all of this? How? Lakers are not a good team. That's the problem. If you can't defend, you're not a good regular season team. In the playoffs, with the game plan, you can adjust, but on the regular season. What's crazy is they've been the best defense for like a decent amount of time. But then you watch them. Someone just tweeted me, and I guess I've said this, but I'm going to continue to say it because it's so true. It's like, you guys can say you guys can say all of this stuff. I have been very upfront and on and saying Luka doesn't look right physically for a year. For a year. Luka doesn't look right. Why do we have Alex Len minutes? Yeah, Alex Len's terrible. Horrible. We'll monitor the Luka stuff. Big game tomorrow against the Nuggets. That's an opportunity. Like if just from a mental side of things, let's say Luka has a good 3-point shooting game in that one, drops 33 points or something like that. Could that be like okay, here we go. I'm here. This is who I am. Let's do it. I sort of feel, weirdly enough, that a big game on the road would be important for him. Like, I think there's added stress being at home. Because you sense it. If you watched the Hornets game, you heard it. Every Luka missed shot, every Luka turnover, there was like what the fuck's going on? Like, What the hell is this? No, I agree, Joe. Like, he doesn't look right physically. You figure that out. Are you going to do Lakers content now? I mean, we'll talk about him. If Luka doesn't re-sign with the Lakers, where can you see him going? I could see him going to Denver. I could see him going to Miami. Now that he's not on the Mavs anymore, and I don't have to like try to convince myself there's zero chance of him leaving in free agency, I could 100% see him going to Miami. And I want to be honest with you. I always did, but I never wanted to outright say it because it scared me. It actually kind of scared me. But the Miami stuff always scared me a tiny bit. I think Luka gets traded this summer if he doesn't re-sign. Can you imagine how fucking crazy that would be? Why Miami? I just worry about Miami. I just worry about him. Him and Bam are boys. Him, Bam, and Jimmy are boys. Jimmy's gone now. Yeah, they worked out a lot in the summer, didn't they? I know him and Bam are boys. Him and Bam like worked out a bunch in the summer, right? He said in an interview Miami is his favorite city. Yeah, he has said that. I mean, Miami's a scary free agent destination for anybody. Luka's turning into Florida man. Real Madrid. What would the talk about this trade be if Luka turned 30 and was like, I'm going back to Europe? Would we view this way differently or no? Depends on what the next 4 years look like. Yeah, agreed. If he wins a chip in the meantime and the Mavs no, then fuck no. What if Luka just leaves after his current contract back to Real Madrid as a fuck you to the league? So do you guys remember there was it Rob Perez like really kind of hinted at this inside secret, these rumors that Luka was Luka was a threat to leave for that new league that LeBron and them were trying to make? Remember that? We talked about it briefly. I don't know if it was on here or on playback. I didn't pay it any mind because I thought it was just like, what? Yeah, that new league they're trying to get funding for, like $6 billion, like whatever league that is. What age do you think Luka retires? I have no clue, bro. The LeBron league is a hoax? Okay. I was just like, what? Yellow looks horrible on almost all white dudes, but on Luka especially. Again, I think Luka just wears really baggy jerseys. It's like a problem some guys have. They got real life doctors on the Mavs. I don't think they would give him a career crippling injection. Did they maybe push him a little bit? Sure. So, you know what's crazy is like saying a guy retiring at 33. If you look back at like the history of the NBA, really not that crazy. Retiring at 33, kind of normal-ish. But with the advancements in like medicine and stuff like that, these guys are playing until they're 38, 39. I thought that fucking Rob Gronkowski was in his 40s. For some reason. I thought he was old as shit. Do you know how old Rob Gronkowski is right now? If you guys had to guess, just off the top of your mind. 35. Which is crazy. He retired at 29 years old. Came back, but retired at 29. Yeah, Gronk got injured a ton, but that is crazy, though. That is much more of an NFL thing. Yeah, Andrew Luck retiring is one of the crazier sport things ever. That was one of the things whenever I was doing the video, and I was like, what are some of the crazier sports things? Andrew Luck retiring is up there for sure. All right, now we got to talk about another injury. This one is scary. Victor Wembanyama. Out for the rest of the season. Victor Wembanyama. Scary, spooky stuff. With a blood clot injury. Which obviously, the moment you hear this, your brain automatically, everyone's does, automatically goes to Chris Bosh and the potential career implications of this. The news Thursday that San Antonio's Victor Wembanyama was diagnosed with deep vein thrombosis and will miss the rest of the 24-25 NBA season since shock waves through the league and stunned its fans, not to mention the Spurs and the All-Stars international fan base. So another piece of this, and I guess we can get into it a little bit more in a bit after we read this, but Defensive Player of the Year was just such a lock. Such a lock that it wasn't even discussed, really. I think LaMarcus Aldridge had an irregular heartbeat, didn't he? No, Chris Bosh got it in his lungs, I'm pretty sure. But the problem was Chris Bosh got had a second blood clot, and that was when the problem started. That was when it was this is dangerous now. I think Jaren Jackson Jr. is currently the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. Here's a breakdown of that condition, DVT, some causes and treatments. We've also cataloged some previous instances in which young athletes have been affected by it. DVT happens when a blood clot forms in a deep vein located in the lower leg, thigh, pelvis, or arm, according to WebMD. The condition can cause swelling and pain, though sometimes there are no noticeable symptoms at all. DVT can be serious because the clots can break loose and travel through the bloodstream and attach to lungs, blocking blood flow in what is called a pulmonary embolism. Pulmonary. That's not a difficult word, but for some reason my mouth just didn't want to move that way. Brian Suter's video on this was very informative. I'll have to watch it. I'm just kind of interested. Most cases of DVT involve blood clots in the legs. Developing one in the shoulder is less common, though certainly possible. There are biological reasons that might make one's blood more prone to the clot. And there might be mechanical reasons, particularly in the shoulder of an NBA athlete, someone who's jamming the basketball violently. There's obviously a lot of contact and collision. Those are the kind of things that might damage a vein. Kind of crazy that you can just sort of develop this from playing basketball, like a blood clot. Reiner said bleeding in the shoulder area from a prior contact injury could lead to a hematoma that might compress a vein. Then there's this thoracic outlet syndrome, TOS, that can lead to blood clots, Reiner said. when one or more vein gets trapped and are damaged under the collarbone. See the video of the Mavs blurring Luka out? I did, and people were talking about it in the chat. Where exactly is it? Is it the... I personally don't think that it's that crazy. I mean, they traded him. He's not on the team anymore. I know Maxey and Josh are in it, but how is DVT treated? Physical therapy and pain relief can be effective in instances of TOS, but most cases of DVT are attacked via blood thinners or surgery. Blood thinners are widely considered to pose a problem for athletes in contact sports due to the likelihood of bleeding through injury. Yeah. The main thing is that they caught it early and it did not dislodge and spread to close organs such as brain, heart, lungs. He will be on blood thinners for at least 3 months and will have to show negative scans to work his way back to basketball. I mean, this just happened with Sar Thompson. Could you imagine if the Mark Williams situation was Luka? No. What would you even say if the Lakers were like, hey, we're actually going to fail Luka's physical? How bad? Like, Luka's physical would have to be so bad for them to fail that. But can you imagine Luka coming back from the Mavs and be like, hey, buddy, so what's up? Yes, with varying degrees of success. The best known is likely Hall of Fame forward Chris Bosh. Bosh's career was cut short in 2016 when at the age of 32, he was diagnosed with clots that traveled to his lungs. He missed the final months of the 2014-2015 season and was done in 2015-2016 after 53 games. Crazy that happened, man. That's the same year Brandon Ingram, traded earlier this month from the New Orleans Pelicans to the Toronto Raptors, was found at age 21 to have a TOS clot in his right arm. Yeah, Brandon Ingram is one of the more common ones. Former Cleveland Cavaliers center Anderson Varejao missed the second half of the 2012-2013 season when a blood clot developed in the wake of a quadriceps surgery. He was out on blood thinners. The Cavs had to return the following season. Asar Thompson did not finish last season's schedule and missed the Pistons' first 18 games this season after being diagnosed with blood clots. Christian Koloko suffered from blood clots that cost him the entire 23-24 season. So it does sound, from everything that we've heard, that he'll be back next year. It is scary. It is scary. Anytime you hear blood clots. I mean, I think it's just because the Chris Bosh situation, your brain immediately goes to that. Like, oh my God, is this guy's career in jeopardy? But from everything that's been said, it does sound like they caught this quick enough that through blood thinners, surgery, whatever the case may be, they can deal with it, and he'll be back next year. Caleb Wemby, now they'll snag flag. Yeah, I mean, you would think they're probably going to lose a decent amount of games now. They already were kind of faltering a little bit, but he'll be fine 100%. Yeah, it does sound like there's not too many concerns about it. Knock on wood, obviously, about him returning. Yeah, the Pop stuff. Has there been an update on the Greg Popovich thing? But yeah, now you worry because the Spurs, I mean, they're currently 24-29. They did win last night. 5 games below 500. They'd have to really bottom out to get like a super high chance. I mean, Jesus Christ. There's 7 teams in the East that have a worse record than them. 7 teams in the East that have a worse record. Rumor is Pop is out as head coach next season for obvious reasons. That would really suck. Like, Popovich just leaves like that. If I had to guess, they would do some ceremonial thing with Pop. Like, let him coach a game and then that'd be it. Like, let him get a send off or something. But there's 7 teams in the East that have a worse record. The Blazers, are 4 games worse. The Jazz are 11 games worse. You'd have to get very lucky in the lottery, which guess what? The Spurs get fucking lucky in the lottery all the time. They also have the Hawks pick. The Hawks pick might have a better chance of winning the lottery than theirs. The Bulls pick is... No, the Bulls traded for their pick back. That was part of the Zach LaVine trade. It was top 10 protected. So get better, Wemby. And we'll look at NBA award odds. I mean, Wemby was like a minus 3,000 to win Defensive Player of the Year. I saw a funny tweet of somebody yesterday before the news came out putting 3,000. Did you guys see this? Put like $10,000 down on Wemby winning Defensive Player of the Year, and was just like, yeah, I mean, there would have to be an act of God for him to not win this. Never say shit like that out loud, guys. Never say shit like that out loud. Shea's a heavy favorite to win MVP currently. Stephon Castle is now the favorite to win Rookie of the Year pretty comfortably. Interesting. Most improved, Norm Powell. Jaren Jackson Jr. is now the favorite, with Evan Mobley right behind him. Cat 5th in MVP voting cannot be right. I mean, outside of the top 2, it's not even really worth talking about, but he's been great this year, and the Knicks are awesome. He has the same odds as Brunson. What's Anthony Edwards doing here? Jaren Jackson Jr. is a favorite. Mobley second favorite, or second. Jaren Jackson Jr. minus 115, Mobley plus 150. And then there's a big gap. Lou Dort plus 1,000, Dyson Daniels plus 1,800, Shea plus 3,000, Zubats plus 3,500, Amen Thompson plus 4,500. If I bet, I would throw some bones at Amen Thompson. I would throw some bones on it. Because I could see a late push. Maybe even J-Dub. I could see a late push. You're like, do we really want to give it to Jaren Jackson? Pritchard's still a comfortable favorite for 6th Man of the Year. Kenny Atkinson, a overwhelming favorite for Coach of the Year. And Jokic, favorite for Clutch Player of the Year. What are we looking at for, where do I go? How do I find the championships? Team wins playoffs. How do I see? Am I a dumbass? Conference winner? Oh, champion. Thunder are favorites. Celtics right behind them. Then the Cavs. Knicks with the 4th best odds. Lakers with the 5th best. You're a sucker if you're betting on that shit. You're a sucker if you're betting on the Lakers. You have been got. Mavs was still better odds than the Timberwolves. Mavs with better odds than the Rockets currently. What do we feel about that? Why do the Sixers have better odds? Wow. It does kind of drop off a little bit here. Mavericks odds aren't as bad as I thought they would be. Thunder are huge. Wow, the Celtics are huge favorites to come out the East, but the Thunder are big favorites to come out the West. Like a big gap between them and the Nuggets. No, the Lakers aren't really, like, the Vegas does it because people are suckers, so they know people will bet on them. That's really it. Yeah, Quentin Grimes bumped up the Sixers odds quite a bit. The Thunder should absolutely walk through the West. I think the Nuggets are the 2 seed now. They're playing great. I mean, they're a threat. If those two met, I'd have to really think about it. I'd have to really think about it. Look, I'm gonna be real. If the Mavs get somewhat healthy, you squint. That's a really good team. It is. The Grizzlies, I don't take them seriously whatsoever. There's just something about them. I can't do it. You know, I like really struggle to get there when I watch them. I really do. And I guess we could sort of just kind of look at the standings currently. The Cavs feels like are going to be the 1 seed in the East. 5.5 up on the Celtics currently, 45-10. We think about the Phil Jackson rule, 40 wins before 20 losses. Usually is the mark of a contender. What has it been? Like only 3 champions in the last several decades have won the championship and haven't won 40 games before 20 losses. You got the Cavs, you got the Celtics. The Knicks have a pretty good chance of hitting that mark as well. In the West, you got the Thunder. The Nuggets could get there. The Grizzlies could get there. And that's it. If you follow that rule, if you're a believer in that rule, Lakers fan base cooking Luka. Oh, yeah. Trust me, I saw. Mavs beating the Thunder as the 8th seed. That would be crazy. Mavs do not apply to that rule. No trade has ever switched these big stars around. Well, the Mavs weren't going to get there anyways because of injuries. Well, that's what to do. March 6th evaluation stream. What's March 6th? Oh, is that when AD is getting reevaluated? Oh. We will monitor. We will monitor. Yeah, we just go live and refresh Twitter all day. Would they even say? Like, I don't think they're going to evaluate him and immediately go to Twitter. Like, they'll probably do it and have their in-house stuff. So last night I watched the Pacers Grizzlies. Pacers went on, and I'm bad. I was like, I'm gonna watch the hockey game. I couldn't. I went to the Pacers Grizzlies pretty much immediately. I just couldn't do it really. Saw the Pacers went on a crazy run. I was like, let me see what the fuck's going on here. Started from the beginning, fast forward through it. The ideal way of watching a game. Yeah, Tim Hardaway Sr. If I go back and suit up, I want to go fuck up Tyrese Halliburton. He talks so much shit. I want to go back and bust his motherfucking ass. He thinks he's all that.
Back and put on my shit and suit up. I want to go fuck up Halliburton.
Ooh.
I want to go fuck him up. He talks so much shit.
Okay.
I want to go back and bust his motherfucking
I love it.
ass.
I love it. I love that shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
energy.
he talks so much shit. I want to go back. I want to bust his ass.
So you want to bust
put the
Tyrese
jersey on
Halliburton's
underneath,
ass because
right?
he talks too much.
Right. And he think he all that.
Ooh.
Do you
If I go back.
Dude, what was it? Tim Hardaway Sr. Father-son terrorist duo, bro. When he was the guest commentator on the Warriors. Where the fuck is a video of it?
So y'all thought that was great D? I thought that was just raping. I think it
could have went either way.
Yeah, I think you should have called the police on that.
Right.
So y'all thought that was great D? I thought that was just raping. Some words. of words earlier in the broadcast. I want to apologize for that. And, let's get back to the game and let's finish this game off with a 30-point win and go home happy.
I'm just trying to imagine. Like the producers having to tell Hardaway Sr., hey, man, you got to apologize. You got to apologize. So funny. I mean, realistically speaking, that's really not that bad. That's not terrible. The worst one was the Reds commentator or whatever team it was, the Reds broadcaster. And the funniest one about that one, the one who used the F slur, the funniest one about that one was he had to come on and do an apology 5 minutes later and be like, "That's not who I am. That's not me." It's like, motherfucker, you just said it. Like, it's one thing to do the apology and be like, yeah, a few years ago, like I'm a different person now. Like that wasn't me. That's not who I am anymore. I'm sorry for that. Like 5 minutes later, it's like, that's not who I'm a different person now. It's like, bitch, that was 5 minutes ago. What do you mean? I've grown a lot in the last 5 minutes. I've talked to God quite a bit. Driving a deep field, but dude, that's kind of what makes baseball so great. Is you have all of those moments, like 162 games, 3 hours every game. You just have moments. I consider myself a man of God. Yeah. We figured. I wonder if the NBA will schedule Lakers and Mavs next Christmas. You could probably kiss Christmas goodbye for the Mavs. Actually, I don't want to say that, but they're pulling all of the Mavs games off TV, in case you didn't know. They took a Knicks-Mavs game off TV, off national TV. So, it's unfortunate. But anyways, going back to what I was saying, I was watching this Pacers and in Grizzlies game. I kind of like where the Pacers are at as a team, right? I think they're playing some pretty good basketball. But I don't mind the Mavericks not being on national TV at all. I'm actually happy about it. That's like that meme with the mask on, the smiling mask with the crying face. I'm actually happy we're not on national TV now. That's actually a pro in all of this. The Grizzlies, man, I just keep waiting. Like, their record is so good. All of their advanced numbers are so good. I keep waiting for the moment I watch them. I'm like, okay, yeah, they're nice. I keep waiting for that moment. And it has not hit me. I think what it is really, I think what it mainly is John Morant just doesn't look like a top 10 player. And that's really it. Like, if you don't have one of those guys, it's hard to take you seriously. And like, John Morant doesn't look like that guy right now. For whatever reason. 12 points, 4-15 last night. 5 turnovers. Just too often, it's just like, do I really believe in... There's been a lot of talk about their offensive system. They don't run a lot of screens. Do I like really feel confident in Jaren Jackson, like post-ups and hook shots? The game is slowing down in the playoffs. Do I really believe in that? Not really. Would you rather have Shea or Jokic on the Mavs? Jokic. All of the big NBA stars soon be dropping like flies. The league might be in really tough shape in a few years. It kind of sucks for the league because Zion, Ja, same draft class. Like those were Anthony Edwards in some ways, LaMelo, like those are like, how did we get so fucking lucky to have these guys? Great players, super popular, mega stars, play exciting basketball. They go to two of the smallest markets there are, but whatever, you can work around that. We've seen the NBA work around that. Zion can't play, can't stay on the fucking court to save his life. Ja Morant is one of the weirder players in the league. And Anthony Edwards, he's got some growing up to do. Seriously. He's funny. He says some funny shit. He's very exciting to watch. The reality is he's got some growing up to do. I would not want him to be the face of the league if I was in like a high up spot. I just wouldn't. I think all it would take is like 10 minutes of research. Like, man, this guy kind of sucks, honestly. You reach Celestial Solo? Nice. Let LaMelo go to a big market and it's over. What is y'all's stance on this? I don't... Bill Simmons dies on this hill that LaMelo's a good stat bad team guy. And maybe the way LaMelo plays sometimes is like kind of out there and you're like, man, what the fuck's he doing? But you watch Charlotte against the Lakers a few nights ago. LaMelo hits a couple of 30-foot threes. I think he's great. I think he's really good. I don't know. I think he's uber talented. LaMelo just does what he wants. Yeah, he does. And yeah, of course, like he doesn't lock in on defense. He takes some really bad shots sometimes, but he's a good athlete. He's got a nasty bag. Great playmaker. Like, I don't know. Glass ankles for sure. But 6'7", I feel like you could do a lot worse than that. Like, if I were a team trying to win, I'd seriously consider LaMelo Ball on my team. LaMelo's handles are nasty. Yeah, that move on Luka was disgusting, and people shit on Luka for that. That was a sick move. That's getting anybody. He's got to stop the one-legged threes. No, the one-legged... You think people are upset about threes now? Just wait until the one-legged three really becomes a thing. A lot of like basketball trainers and stuff that I watch, or I follow on Twitter and stuff, say that that's the one-legged three's coming. Like, people are going to start shooting those quite a bit. Yeah, I did see LeVar got his foot amputated. Crazy. LaMelo or Halliburton? You know what's funny is me and one of my friends had a heated debate about this before the season started, and I said LaMelo. And I think I would stand on that. I think LaMelo is a more talented player than Halliburton, but... The hook shot threes... No, the one-legged threes are going to become a thing. When guys are like on the move, and it just makes more sense to sort of, like a runner. Like, just take the runner instead of coming to a stop. You see LeBron shoot that shot every now and then. Wemby shoots that shot. LaMelo shoots that shot. I think it's a matter of time. You're going to see guys take that shot a little bit more. And whenever you first see it, it is going to be like, what the fuck's going on? And the old heads are going to see that and say, this would never happen back in my day. We would have chopped your fucking foot off for doing that. Yeah, Luka's made a few of those. I mean, next time you're shooting around, shoot like a runner three. It's not as difficult as you might make it seem to be. Like, if you practice that shot, it's probably easier and more comfortable to get off than coming to a complete stop and pulling up. Jorge 199. I bet PJ felt disrespected. Almost traded for KD. Well, I don't know about almost traded for KD. My my ultimate prediction at the trade deadline came true, that the moment the trade deadline ended, we would have gotten some report that, hey, the Mavericks thought about KD. It's just an easy way to get the fans to say, oh, okay, they tried. If ESPN loses Windhorse and the Hoop Collective, they're just throwing the towel in the podcast game. Is that a possibility? Let's talk ESPN real quick. I want to talk about this. So ESPN lost their MLB rights. Or I guess let me rephrase that. They're going to. This is it. This is the last year. Windhorse is a free agent this summer. So MLB is no longer going to be broadcasted on ESPN. Unfortunately, in recent years, this was a statement by the MLB. Unfortunately, in recent years, we have seen ESPN scale back their baseball coverage and investment in a way that is not consistent with the sport's appeal or performance on their platform. Given that MLB provides strong viewership, valuable demographics, and the exclusive right to cover unique events like the Home Run Derby, ESPN's demand to reduce rights fees is simply unacceptable. Congrats, man. Congratulations, Rob Manfred. Congratulations, MLB. Put your foot down, baby. Put your foot down. These fucking losers. Let them know. And this is why I've been saying this. You are the commissioner. You can put your foot down to these broadcasting companies. I've been saying it. You can do it. The NFL does it. The NFL clamps down on that shit. Baseball just did it in the most major way there is. Side sleepers get achy shoulders. Few know this side sleeper trick. These ads are crazy, bro. What does that even mean? Meanwhile, the NBA is doing this in the middle of a game. This is another, the thing about being slightly biased, thing about being me, is sometimes you're just right way too early, right? Sometimes you're just right too early and people shit on you or whatever. Or at the 199, will Nico ever show his face again? Yeah, he's, to his credit, he's been around. Like for example, right? I think it was last year or so we were saying on here, we were like, I think TNT should ride off into the sunset. I think it's done. I think it's over and done with. I think Katie looked annoyed on the sidelines during this. Shea looked annoyed. Jaylen Brown looked annoyed. All the players were annoyed. Maybe it's time for TNT to just ride off into the sunset. Inside the NBA had a great run, and it's reaching its end. They're still doing it just on ESPN? Yeah, I know. I fucking know. Which is what made this so much more confusing. It's like we're doing why are we stopping the game to do a send-off for a show that's not even being sent off? TNT, it's okay. You can go. We're good here. Slightly biased is here. We're good, bro. Amazon's not fucking around. That's why I was excited when Amazon got into the mix. I feel like they're not playing games. They're going to try and put together a good product, which I'm happy about. NBC, Reggie Miller going to NBC makes me a little bit worried, but I think NBC is going to make a big push, and they're going to try hard as well. Tyler with the $2. Ban Kevin Hart from all NBA courts. Yeah, that should never happen again. Blake Griffin, Dirk Nowitzki, that's going to be a great duo, I think. Blake and Dirk are just naturally funny people. Mr. Beast, yeah. The Amazon product for the W has been really good, and their NFL stuff was good too. So, I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be good. And I'm excited about the back half of this NBA season too. I also watched the Suns Spurs. The Suns are pathetic, dude. They are a pathetic team. Absolutely pathetic. Like, what's gone wrong here? Did you read BS tweet? What did Bill Simmons say? It's worth reading in the middle of the stream. They started 8-1, but if you remember, one of those wins was against the Mavericks. All of them were like close. The body language doctor almost needed medical attention in Austin last night after sitting near the Suns bench. All right, this is worth it. This is worth it. After sitting next to the Suns bench and watching them in person for 2+ hours. Wow, that's an unhappy basketball team. There's no counter argument. Sorry. I've seen Suns fans that are now calling for Budenholzer's head. I mean, guys, when you're on coach 3 in 3 years and you want that coach gone, it's time to look within. It is time to look within. They just look pathetic, man. I mean, it's so awkward too. Like KD, they try to trade you. Like KD had to straight up say, "I don't want to get traded." Otherwise, he was going to get traded. Like that's kind of this weird thing that I don't think people fully understand how like weird it is. I don't think we're like fully processing it. Like Kevin Durant was going to get traded. It was happening. And KD said no. Yes, KD will get traded in the summer. That's a foregone conclusion. Okay? It felt like a kind of a foregone conclusion all season. But now it's just like, it's going to happen. I don't think KD's a problem. What's going on with D-Book? Like what? There was a point in time, like a couple years ago, where D-Book was like legit top 5 player. He's been good outside of yesterday. Yeah, but this season he hasn't been good. Or let me rephrase that. Hasn't been D-Book. Has to be a confidence thing, thinking the Orr doesn't trust him to be the number 1 guy. Well, KD's gone in the summer. If I'm Book, I'm probably looking at that situation like, man, what the fuck are we going to do? Like, let's say we trade Kevin Durant for Reed Shepherd, Jalen Green, and some picks or whatever. Like, okay. What about Netflix NBA? I could be talked into that. Or what, we bring in Caleb Martin, Daniel Gafford, Najee Marshall. I think this might be a crazy offseason. We all, and maybe me saying that's going to lead to a not big one because I said it wasn't going to be a crazy NBA trade deadline, but I'm thinking about this offseason. We talked about this on Locked On. I don't know if the episode's come out yet. I think it did. We talked about this on Locked On, and I've been thinking the Celtics feel like a weird sleeping giant. Let's say the Celtics lose in round 2 to the Knicks. Okay. Celtics lose round 2 to the Knicks. Could happen. I could see that being I could see that leading to something. You know? Absolutely. I mean, you have to also remember that they're in the process of getting sold. I could absolutely see a new owner coming in and just being like, yo, Jaylen Brown's making how much money? Just saying, they feel like a sleeping giant type of team in the offseason. Cavs, I mean, what happens if the Cavs flame out in the playoffs again? That's actually an interesting question to ask. What happens if the Cavs flame out in the playoffs again? You're 45-10. You're going to be the 1 seed in the East. Do you just run it back again? Do you say this will work out eventually? Just gotta have patience. I don't know. I think they'll keep running it back as well. Knicks, they'll run it back. Pacers are kind of interesting if they flame out in the playoffs. Let's say they lose round 1 to the Bucks or something. They're a team that kind of is going to start to get pretty expensive. And they already have so many players. Miles Turner goes to a new team. Could see that. Could they look at Siakam and say, yeah, we know we just paid him, but maybe trading him is more in our interest? If the Bucks lose round 1. I think Kyrie resigns, yes. Pal for Giannis. I think it could be a juicy offseason. Grizzlies, I think the Grizzlies will do something. The Magic are an interesting one too. I mean, if the Thunder are disappointing in the playoffs, they almost have to do something, right? Not like trade away guys, but I'm saying like make a move to try and improve. Like they almost have to, right? Nuggets will just keep running it back, I think, regardless. Rockets will try to be aggressive and get somebody. Lakers will be aggressive. Clippers are kind of interesting. The Mavericks will be aggressive. I'm telling you that right now. Minnesota will be aggressive in their pursuit to upgrade their roster. I think it's going to be an interesting offseason for sure. I think the Thunder open up the war chest. I do. Yeah, the Kings are kind of an interesting team. Let's say that they lose in the play-in or some shit. What do you do? I love this league. What do we got tonight? The Mavs play. We'll be live on playback.tv/slightlybiased for that. 7:30 against the Pels. What else we got? We got New York and Cleveland. Always fun when those two teams play. Memphis at Orlando. It's a fun game. Milwaukee at Washington. Kyle Kuzma's return. Does Kyle Kuzma get a tribute video? Does he get a big welcome back? Miami at Toronto. Detroit at San Antonio. New Orleans and Mavs. Minnesota and Houston. It's a pretty fun one. OKC at Utah and Golden State at Sacramento. I love games like these, Golden State, Sacramento, because it's like no matter what happens, somebody's going to be really pissed off. Somebody's going to be really pissed off. Playback.tv/slightly biased. That's playback.tv/slightly biased. If you're listening to this on Spotify, leave a 5-star review. I love you. And that's going to be it for today, folks. That's going to be it. Do we need to subscribe on Playback? Yeah. You need to subscribe, guys. You need to subscribe. Get on Playbacks, folks. Get on Playback. It sucks. I don't have my fucking thing set up. I have to scroll through all of these scenes to try and find the... Oh, and I don't have my music. What a disaster. What a disaster. We're close to 1 billion subs. That's true. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Downloads? Will this be on there? Oceanside at Night, I think is the name. Oh, here it is. No, slightly early tomorrow. I'm excited for baseball though. I got to be honest with you. I get excited about baseball this time every year. Yeah, Monday. All right, guys, thank you all for tuning in. All the OGs, guys, I love you very much. Kiss me your Friday morning anywhere in the world. Do you decide to spend it here? Do subscribe, as I promise you guys that I regret it. Donations, members, thank you guys so much. You never have to do that, but it helps me out tremendously. It makes me feel so good. If you guys missed any part of this stream, you can always watch it back. The Slightly Biased Clips channel on YouTube. I'll post some clips from the stream over there. If you're an audio type of guy, these are on Spotify. Don't know what the fuck's going on with Apple. I'll have to look back into it. It's still not approved for Apple. I don't know why. This podcast still is not approved. I don't know. I must have done something wrong. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be live tonight on playback.tv/SlightlyBiased. We'll be live Monday morning here as well. Love you all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a safe weekend. Talk to y'all later. Bye.